Stop number 7 of the summer traveling table tour coming at you. Over the summer, I decided to take this little project on the road and see where people work, create, and relax. You know, I want to see what makes people tick. And what makes today's guest tick is the town and history of Gettysburg. But before we get into all of that, I got one thing to throw at you. Jump over to my new website, waltzkitchentable.com, and enter a chance to win this awesome bundle of CBD products and swag. All the details you need to know and everything you need to do is right there on the front page of my site. Check it out, waltzkitchentable.com. So, on to the show. Welcome to Walt's Kitchen Table, where I feature captivating stories from fascinating people. Man, today's episode, we have a blast with Matt down in Gettysburg. We recorded this out in the battlefield with a monument in the middle of the night. It was dark, and you can hear the crickets, and it was just a fun setting. And a lot of things we get to talk about is you're going to see his passion for Gettysburg is awesome. And how about a cattle drive, tiny houses, well, kind of, and Halloween costumes. We have a good time talking about Halloween and his story on how he got his podcast started, Dressing Gettysburg, it's called, is awesome. You know, the guy has a passion for it, and he's following that, so I commend him. And you will hear that passion come out in this episode. Let's get to it. I think we're recording, dude.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Say what? What?
Hello?
Gotcha, dude. Give me some sight over here, though. All right. So now we're
Can we get a little reverb in the cans?
Oh, you want some reverb?
No.
No.
Do we need this light anymore?
No, we're good there,
All right,
bud.
great.
Look at that. Now, look, it's all romantic.
See, now it's easier to talk when I don't have to look you in the eye.
Oh, yeah. It reminds you of the prom date, huh?
Yeah. Or the day after the prom date.
Yeah, exactly. Morning after, right?
Dude,
this has been a long time coming, my friend.
I know. You've got your show. I've got mine.
Mine?
No, mine.
Mine.
No, you got yours.
So, well, actually, where are we at here, dude?
We are at the Eternal Peace Light Memorial at Gettysburg National Military Park, just outside of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
That thing is cool, man.
Yes.
So how long has this thing been going on?
That was put up for the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg. I believe there were about 1,000 Civil War veterans still alive at that point.
So wait a minute, 75th anniversary
of the battle.
So what year would that be?
1938.
Damn, dude, you know your shit, huh?
Well, not. I mean, if you think that's knowing your shit, then shows how much you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, man, hey, don't judge, dude. Don't judge.
But it was put. So there's an eternal flame up there, lit by natural gas. It's been burning since then, except for a few years during the oil crisis in the 70s.
They shut it down during the oil crisis.
And they replaced it with an electric light. And I believe that was I want to say, don't quote me on this, I want to say it was the late 80s when it went back to its original gas.
See, I don't think the electric light would have the same feeling, would it?
No, I've seen pictures of it. It looks stupid.
Yeah.
It was just like a big lamp up there. You know, imagine that size of a thing, but it's just this electric, like a street lamp almost.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. With a bunch of mosquitoes running around it.
Yeah. I wonder how many bugs were in there when they took it down finally.
Yeah.
But, an interesting story about this. So the idea of it, if you come here, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, first of all, if you come here, you got to see Matt.
You got to come and say hi to me, of course. Yeah.
Yep.
But the base of this memorial is made of granite from Maine, and I want to say the pillar of it is I should go and look at the plaque, but I believe it's Alabama limestone.
Okay. And they brought it from the South.
They brought well, it's to show a reunited nation.
Okay.
and that's the symbolism there. It's troops as far down as Alabama were up here, and as far north as Maine were here, and so the two.
How far out west? Because did a bunch of people.
There were troops from Indiana. There was Minnesota, Wisconsin. You had up Michigan, Ohio. The West was not the West back then.
No, that kind of was off right at the Mississippi, huh? In a way, a little further than that.
Along the Mississippi.
Because you had Texas and everything was pretty heavy
Texas,
at that time.
Yeah,
right?
oh yeah. You had Texas guys, Mississippi troops, Tennessee. You had a.
Well, the reason too we're sitting here is because my show on the road, and I've known you for God, how long have we known each other?
Over 5 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5-6 years.
Yeah,
and we'll get into why you came down here in a minute.
Sure.
But did I lose you?
No, I just wasn't into the mic. It'll come out in the recording. Don't worry.
Yeah. Took the table on the road, and we're down here in Gettysburg.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the middle of a field.
Yeah. I hope we don't get in trouble for setting the table up here, but
hey, but
it's also dark.
Well, that's true.
It's after 8 o'clock. The sun's down. Just a little bit of light off to the west, but
a cool setting, man. This is awesome.
I wish you had gotten here a little earlier, or we had gotten fast food for dinner instead, so we could have gone somewhere where you could see things in the light. Tomorrow you will.
Yeah, we'll add some video and stuff tomorrow, but come on, man. Dinner was great.
Yeah, I know. It was very good.
Yeah, got to eat, dude. Got to eat.
You're telling me. I got a beer belly to maintain. Yeah, so it's a gorgeous night tonight, too, by the way.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, if we didn't get lost, we would have been here when the sky was all orange and stuff. That would have been cool. Because we drove by here when it was orange, but then obviously we had to come back.
I sent you a link to the Google Map location of something called the Eternal Light Peace Memorial, and you went right past this.
Well, we were just
light, and didn't think it might be the Eternal Light Peace Memorial. But whatever. Well, you're new here.
Well, that's true. But the instructions you gave us. We ended up in the middle of a field down there, and we just thought, hey, we're looking for a battlefield. This might be it.
Well, it is.
No, not this, but where you dropped us, yeah.
Where you were. It's all battlefield. Even the stuff that isn't, there's like off there where you can see those lights. For anybody who cares, if you want to figure out from where we're talking, we're at the Eternal Peace Light. We're behind it. We're facing south. Off to the southwest, there's a string of lights there. That's Her Ridge, or Hers Ridge. That's actually part of the battlefield, too. The Confederates launched their attacks from there and came, if you're, to the east.
Yep.
To the ridges down here. If you look and you see that red light there in the distance.
Yep.
Okay, that's McPherson's Ridge. And the Union line we're looking down the Union line right now. So they're facing to the west, and we're looking straight down their line. And so Confederates actually came out of the woods behind us here. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all battlefield. And this is just the first day's battlefield.
Okay, so how many days was
3?
Okay.
And this is just where it started. The Union couldn't hold its position. They were overwhelmed, and they fell back to south of town, right around actually where we had dinner.
Okay.
And there's a hill there, right across the street from where we had dinner. There's a cemetery. It's called Cemetery Hill.
And we had dinner where? Just
we
to
had
give people
at the Dobbin House. If you come here, it's a delicious place. Get the French onion soup. But Cemetery Hill.
Tell them Matt sent you.
They'll be like, who? Cemetery Hill, you can't tell today because of all the trees and buildings and stuff, but it was still is a prominent height that was bald. And if you could get your artillery up there, you could control everything for miles. And not only that, but it was the key to holding the Baltimore Pike, which went straight down to Washington. Eventually, but before that, it would hit Westminster, Maryland, which is where the Union Army had its supply lines or its supply wagons.
Damn.
So they wanted to hold that as best they could.
Of course.
Yeah. So
they got beat up a little bit here, so they moved back down there.
They moved back down there to hold that hill. Now, this was an advanced element of the Union Army that was up here. So they sent, the commander sent word back to the Army commander, hey, there's a battle at Gettysburg, hurry up. So he starts moving the army up towards Gettysburg. Now, everybody's coming here. So the armies, the corps, you have Army, Corps, Division, Brigade, Regiment. That's from biggest to smallest.
Okay, say that again.
Army.
Okay.
So the Army of the Potomac was the Northern Army.
Okay.
Then within the Army, there were 7 corps.
Yep.
CORPS.
Yep.
And then corps were made up of 3 to 4 divisions.
All right.
And those were made up of 3 or 4, sometimes 5 brigades.
All right.
Which were made up of 3 to 5 regiments.
Okay.
And then you could even go further down. You could go below
Unit?
a regiment is a battalion.
Okay.
And then below a battalion is a company.
Yep.
And then a platoon, and then a squad. They didn't really use squad back then, but that's what it is today. So, but you don't need to know all that. But I just thought when I say these words, I don't want people to get confused.
Well, the other thing too is for a long time, I was never in the military and all that.
Yeah, me neither.
And to understand the rank of that, I guess, or
hierarchy.
The hierarchy of that is cool because I don't think a lot of people get.
No, I think
they
a lot
hear
of people,
corps and unit, and
right.
they hear all that, but they don't know where it falls.
Well, see, here, I think they use the terms interchangeably too. So, because you said they hear corps and unit. Well, a corps is a unit.
Oh, okay.
A company
okay.
is a unit.
Ah.
Whatever. Yeah. So a unit is just the word unit means, a grouping of units. Okay.
And
so like a corps is a grouping,
of men.
Divisions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
But those divisions are units comprised of units that make up a unit.
That makes sense.
A unit is just like a generic term. But the specific terms are corps, division, brigade, regiment. Anyway, I'm meandering. So, so the
Can you spell
corps
brigade?
that were BRIGADE.
Damn it! I was hoping to get you on that one.
It's the only word I actually happen to know how to spell.
Oh,
Throw out another one, I'm done.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, so there were
Doppelganger?
Don't even try. There were 2 Union Corps out here, and there were 2 Confederate Corps facing them. But a Confederate Corps was larger than a Union Corps, man to man.
Well,
a Union Corps had about 10,000 men, and a Confederate Corps had about 20.
So to come up with a corps, they figure out, okay, the Army is X big. We need so many.
No.
So why would one corps be bigger than?
Well, go ahead.
Why would one corps be bigger than another one?
Well, they're 2 different armies, so 2 different ways of organizing.
Okay. All right. All right.
One of the things was in the Union Army, when they would get new recruits, they would make a new unit. In the Confederate Army, when they would get new recruits, they would put them in with veterans.
Okay, makes sense.
So that way, if you have some green troops mixed in with veterans, a green trooper or soldier might cut and run a lot sooner than a veteran would, because something.
Or the veteran might help him stay there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Because the green troop soldier, anything is scary to him, and anything seems like the end of the world. But a veteran who's been through, it's like, kid, you ain't seen nothing yet. Just stay here. You're okay. So, but no, that's not to say that all the Union units that were green entirely ran all the time. But you had a better chance of that happening, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I could go through the whole story of the battle.
I was just going to say,
for the people that are listening, this makes no sense because they can't see anything.
Yeah, but it's cool as hell, though, dude.
It is. Oh, that's why I moved here.
I was going to say, so when I met you, we were in Jersey. I was in Jersey. You were in Jersey.
Yeah.
Were you down here before you were in Jersey?
Yeah. Now I grew up in Jersey, but I what brought me down here was I hate New Jersey.
Okay, well that's a good reason.
I mean, as long as I can remember, my earliest memory was always a feeling of yuck. I can't stand this place. I'm talking like 5 years old. I just never liked it. Now I think part of it is because since I was born, I've been going to visit family down in Virginia. So I've seen that there's beauty out there.
Well, there's beauty in Jersey.
Well, I didn't see it.
Okay. All right. All right.
Not that where I grew up was bad. I mean, I grew up in Parsippany, so it's not horrible.
Well, not horrible, but
it's not.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, back then, Parsippany had a lot more green space. We had woods that we went and played in. Now they're all townhouses and McMansions and condos and
fast
things.
food restaurants and all that.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like. There's no soul to North Jersey. There's no character to the towns.
Come on, man. They're just getting Wawas. They're bringing soul into
Well, notice I said North Jersey because South Jersey's always had soul because they've always had the Wawas.
Come on, man. There's nothing wrong with a roller grill. I'm just saying.
But honestly, most of the country doesn't have any soul. I mean, most places are kind of blech.
Yeah.
But this place, I always like the countryside. I think it's pretty. I like wide open spaces. I like the smell of fresh air. I don't like people being on top of each other. And Virginia opened my eyes to that.
Yep.
And for the longest time, I thought I wanted to live down there because, it's Civil War heaven down there. All the battles were fought down there.
Well, we just spent our vacation down there a little over a week. We stayed in a treehouse, and then we...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where?
Down South Virginia. I can't tell you the town. I mean...
That's awesome.
Yeah. You ever hear of... it's called Hip Camp.
No.
You might dig this. You like
tree houses?
Well, it's got tree houses in it.
Yeah, I would like that.
But what it does is you go on Hip Camp and you say, all right, I want to go kind of in this region. And then you can look up if they have cabins and tents and yurts and campsites and it's that type of thing.
It's like hipster camp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is, though, you can go from like a tree house that looks like 5-star hotel to a treehouse like we stayed in. There ain't fucking nothing, right? There's a roof and some windows in it, right? Did it have plumbing? No.
So what'd you do? Piss out the window?
No, you go down the stairs and they had a bathroom down there.
So no running water at all?
No running water, no power. And then we went up into...
I've heard of that, yeah, okay. No, I have. My friend stayed at one down in near Harper's Ferry, West Virginia that...
same type of thing.
He said there were nicer ones, but they were like $300 a night.
Right. We found a cabin last year in the Catskills up in New York.
Yeah.
It was an amazing cabin.
Yeah.
No power, no running water, no nothing. So the people that have it, they set you up with a compostable toilet. And then they have drinking water like in a jug, kind of like a
water cooler.
Like a water cooler,
yeah.
Exactly. And then it's some lights because of power or like battery operated like fairy lights and a lantern. You bring a lantern, and I just like on this trip too, both trips, I would kick back with a headlamp on, like a hiker would use,
Yeah.
And read a book. So you're in a cabin. It's completely dark except for your headlamp, and you're reading a book. It's amazing.
It's
we love it.
Yeah, I went out to a working ranch out in Wyoming when I was 21, 22, something like that. My friend and I, and we wanted to do the city slickers thing. We wanted to do a cattle drive. But we were.
So you went out there? Did they offer cattle drive?
Oh, they did. Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
But we did. We looked into it, and we're in college, and a cattle drive was like $1,400 a person just to do the cattle drive. That's not including your airfare. So we're like, it's a little steep. But then I saw that they had a hunter's cabin, and they bring the horses out to the cabin. There's a corral there, and the cabin is powered by propane.
Right.
There's no running water. There's an outhouse and a quote unquote solar heated shower, which really was a 55-gallon drum with a shower head slammed into it.
Yep.
Painted black and suspended over a makeshift shower stall. Okay.
So it soak up the sun, get hot.
Yeah, theoretically. Well, we go out there in June. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to wear? I'm traveling light. We're roughing it. Pair of jeans, 5 days change of underwear and t-shirts, and that's about it because it's June.
Right. In Wyoming.
Well, in Wyoming, and I didn't realize it's 6,000 feet above sea level. And the whole week before we arrived, it rained. So there was no soul for the solar heated shower to absorb.
A little chilly.
So the first thing I want to do is get the airplane off of me when we get there.
Yeah, of course.
And we had a long day of travel, so I want to go take a shower. Now, you feel the wind now?
Yeah.
Okay, now magnify that by, I don't know, maybe 10 more miles per hour, okay?
And you're wet.
And yeah. So this stall that they build, it doesn't go all the way down to the ground. It's, kind of just like a couple of walls on stilts. And then the door is just a flimsy shower curtain liner that is windward. So like the wind is blowing into the shower curtain liner. So I'm standing there naked. I got the shower curtain liner going up my ass, and I pull on the rope, and this freezing cold water comes out, and I scream bloody murder. My friend comes running out. He's like, "What?" He thought that there was a snake or something. I don't know what he thought, but he apparently it was just from the pain of the cold. So, but now I'm like, well, I'm invested. I'm wet. I'm gonna at least wash my hair and the old crotchety doodah. So I did that.
Yeah, the essentials as a man.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what I did. And I didn't go near that shower for the remainder of the trip. Except, so we had a guide take us around, right?
Yep.
And it cost $100 for the guide per day that you wanted them. So we only could scrounge up an extra $100. So you had one day with a guide? So we had 1 day with the guide, because I'm usually good with, I have a good sense of direction. But that's when the landscape has something discernible. But when you're out on the plains...
Oh, Wyoming. I've ridden through Wyoming 1,000 times on a motorcycle.
Yeah, well, on highways.
Yeah.
See, when we landed... The airport's about the size of my garage.
Yep.
The daughter of the owners of the ranch came out and got us. We got in the pickup truck. This is in Casper. We got in the pickup truck. We go down the highway maybe 2 miles. And then all of a sudden, she just like pulls off the road. And it looks to me like she's just going out into the middle of the plains. But no, there's actually a road there. And this road is 60 miles long, and it's dirt.
Are you in the back or in the cab?
I'm in the cab. We're in the cab.
Okay. All right. Well, you got that going.
Crew cab.
Yeah.
I'm up front, and we're going through, and it's like it's amazing, because I mean it's like no one has touched this.
Oh yeah,
since
absolutely.
Sitting Bull,
yeah,
you know. And so we come to this one point, and there's a little one-room schoolhouse, and I said, "Oh, that's cool. They kept the little schoolhouse here." And she goes, "Well, they still use it.
Put chickens in it."
No. Student kids.
Oh, no. They still use a one-room schoolhouse.
She said all the ranchers send their kids to this school. And now, how big is a ranch out there? The ranch we were on was 70,000 acres. And that was the small one in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is like a totally different world out there. So when we went out, and they put us out in the cabin, our horses were there and everything like that. The guide came out the next day. He was like our age, and we had a great time with him. So we're like, oh man, too bad we would get you more if we had more money, but we don't, And he's like, yeah, man, I had a good time with you guys. Like, too bad, Well, that night, I'm sorry, it wasn't that night. It was the next night. The owner and his wife come out. And they say, Mike tells us that you'd like to get him again, and you don't have enough money. And we said, yeah. She's like, well, I'll tell you what. I'll bet you're probably going to want a hot meal and, maybe a hot shower. She said, why don't you do this? Tomorrow, Mike's going to come out and get you. You ride your horses into the main headquarters, which is 7 miles away. Help us with the cattle for the day.
Woo!
We'll give you a hot meal, and you can take a shower, and then we'll take you back to your cabin at the end of the day. And that was the best meal and best shower I ever had in my life.
Now, was the meal like a chuck wagon thing, or did you go in the house and all that?
It was in the house. There were some guests that were staying up there in the bunkhouse. So all of us, it was like family style eating. We all just sat around and ate and talked and got to know each other and stuff. We watched Tombstone.
How classic is that, right?
And then they drove us back in a truck because it was dark by the time we were done, and they brought our horses back the next morning, and then we continued on with Mike and had a really great time. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
I
That's
almost
really
died. We were. Mike said he's like my horse. He likes to chase the mule deer if we ever come across any. And he goes, so if we see him, I'm just gonna let him go. I ain't gonna fight with him. But if you don't want to chase the mule deer with us, just hold your horse back and catch up to me when you can. And I was like, no, man, F that. I want to do this.
Yeah.
So, sure enough, like, I don't know, a couple hours later, mule deer come running across the horse's path, and he just bolts. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. So me and my horse go, and we're going like, I mean, this is John Wayne style, like full gallop across this open plain. And then the world fell out from under me. My horse and I did not see a little runoff, little ditch.
Oh, a little ditch or something?
Yeah.
Oh, did he try to jump it, or he
Because it
fell
wasn't
right in
full
it?
of water. He fell in it, and he went down on his chest, right? His front legs caved underneath and went down on his chest. And as we were going down, I said, this is it. You know, I'm coming, Grandma. I'm on my way. And just as I'm about to go flying over his head, the son of a bitch rights himself, gets back up, and then just continues into his gallop.
God damn.
Saved my goddamn life. And I'll tell you what. They told me when they gave me the horse when I got there, they said he's a retired stunt horse from the movies. And I swear to God, that's what saved my life.
Oh, him.
Because they trip them in the movies.
Yeah, and then he's got to get right back
knows how to get right back up.
Yeah.
So this was really no different. Like it was, different way of getting tripped, but it was the same idea.
Yeah.
And he got back up. Now I had to stop him anyway because my saddle became loose, so I had to get off and tighten it and everything. But man, it was fun. It was such a great. If you ever get a chance to go out like real horseback riding.
Oh yeah, we do. We go down to Costa Rica. Well, we used to.
On the beach.
No, up in the mountains, bro.
Oh, what do you know? Is it horses or is it
horses.
donkeys?
No, horses. And they're small. They're small in Costa Rica because
ponies.
No, the breed, whatever breed of horse, they breed them smaller because they don't really need them. No, they're not miniature, but they're not like these big.
I'm just trying to picture you on a miniature horse.
Well, I'm getting to the point here where they're smaller horses, and then so it's a working ranch, right?
Okay.
So we all go out horseback riding. So there's a group of us, and we're talking, we come to the workers, and you walk up to them, and they get a horse that they think works for you, right? So every time I get up there, they're like, oh, we'll be right back. And then they go get a bigger horse, and they come back. But all the other horses
are back with a Clydesdale.
Yeah. It's just, I love riding horses, dude.
Oh, me too.
I feel
amazing. So at home on a horse.
Yeah, and these horses, they're so well trained. Like you could fall asleep on it, and it'll just
do its job.
Just doing its thing. It's a great cup.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with because I'm not like great on a horse. So it's nice to know that this horse is like could give a shit if I'm on it.
Yeah.
So it's just going to do its thing, but it's a good time. But the other thing, going back to down south. So the first part of the week we stayed in the treehouse, right?
Yeah.
And then wasn't really happy with that, the property and stuff. It was just they did a really good job taking pictures to advertise it, and then when you got there, it was one of those deals,
Typical.
And so we had that planned, and then the second part of the week we go to this they call it a cottage. It's a 600 square foot. And there was really no walls on it. All it was on there was screen.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? In the middle of the woods, on this bank of this river. Now, if the pitch of the bank was a 1 or 2, so it was like just about straight up and down. This guy built this cottage, and then he built all these decks around it.
Okay.
It was amazing, dude. Yeah. And that cottage, like I said, it didn't have any walls on it. Torrential downpour. 2 nights in a row, not a drop of water in the place.
Really? It didn't blow in?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah, and then you slept in it had a tin roof, and then
tin roof rusted.
Yeah, and then you sleep in the little loft above it. Mm-hmm. So it was just what an amazing setup. So you find some pretty unique places like that, on
And what did you say? Hipcamp.com?
Hipcamp, yeah. I thought Airbnb owned it, but my wife, Val, doesn't think so. I'd have to look into that.
Because it's the same, a bunch of different things like that.
Yeah, it's the same concept.
Yeah.
Like people own these things, like the guy with the cabin, a cottage, because he kept correcting us.
What's the difference?
I don't know, dude. Cottage size, maybe?
I don't know. I never knew the difference, but
between it, yeah. And so like he had it built for a long time, and then like 3 years ago he's like, might as well share it. So he started renting it out, and now he's booked like 6-8 months in advance. And I totally get why. It's an amazing spot, and you find some cool stuff, man. And it's better to my wife Val and I to go to like a Holiday Inn or fuck all that, dude. Let's do something different.
Absolutely.
Change it up a little bit.
I've become obsessed with like this tiny living stuff.
Oh, you're gonna get a tiny home?
No,
we had a little stint with that. We were watching it and did a little research, and I'm like, it's not gonna work.
I would like to have a regular house and then a tiny house compound to escape to. When I just need a break.
You got like a piece of land up in the mountains and you put it up there.
Yeah, and the thing would be like each facet of my personality gets its own tiny house. So like I have a room, I have a tiny house to paint in, I have a tiny house as a living room, a tiny house as a kitchen and a dining room.
Kind of defeats the purpose of a tiny house, doesn't it?
Well, no, because they're still tiny houses. It's just I've just broken up a regular house and taken all the rooms and made them their own home.
Okay, so you're going to take, for an example, we'll take a...
But they're connected by a breezeway.
Oh.
But the breezeway is...
Is it like, open air breezeway?
Of course. But there's like, landscaping done around the way. It's not like it's just like boom, 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 they're all in a row connected by a breezeway. It's going to be, you got to kind of meander through different mazes and things like that. Kind of like in The Shining. The hedge maze in The Shining.
I was just going to say, so would you have the same decor as The Shining? In one of them, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So what part of Shining?
Oh, the lobby.
Oh, the lobby was amazing.
No, maybe the bar. The bar. Yeah, that would be my bar tiny house.
How about with all this Corona stuff?
Yeah.
And
no Corona's allowed in my tiny house. No.
But with isolation and all that, that's how well isolation goes. You ever see that meme? You want to talk? You want to talk about how good isolation is? Ask these guys, and it's a picture of Jack Nicholson and that family.
Yeah. Well, it's right. It's true. People have gone nuts. I've known people who were normal turn crazy because of the shutdown. I've known people who were a little off to begin with completely lose their minds because of the shutdown.
Yeah.
It's done more harm than any good it could have ever done.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that they didn't foresee that would happen to people.
Oh, really? Because I did. They should have talked to me. The first thing I said when it went past 2 weeks, I go, good luck with mental health on this one.
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's why people said that, or not people said, but that's why they kept liquor stores essential. Could you imagine?
But not gyms. And gyms...
Dude, I no, see, the thing is, I get that with a gym and a liquor store. Okay, sure, you can go work out somewhere else. Dude, I don't fucking care who you are. Gyms are more of a recent thing. Shit, gyms are from the 80s, man. Even before the 80s.
You know what?
But a liquor store, dude. Okay, check out some guy or some woman. I don't want to.
No, it's equal opportunity alcoholics. They can all be alcoholics.
So they're just hanging on with drinking, and they don't.
I know.
And they don't spend a lot of time at home.
But here's the thing: I know gym rats, and it's the same compulsion. Like it's the same type of addiction that they have. Like they've been beside themselves when they couldn't go to their gyms. They didn't know what to do, and I said, why don't you just work out at home? They're like, it's not the same. You don't get it. It's like, I have to be at the gym. I have to go to the gym. And you're right, I don't get it. But I also don't get alcoholism. I can control it. So there are people that have these things that are, for lack of a better term, addictions. And...
Well, there's all sorts of crazy addictions, right? Food addiction.
But my point is, but my point about the gym was... we're talking about mental health, right? And people becoming Jack Nicholson in The Shining. When you take away these people's ability, Now, what I did was I came out here every day and I walked for miles. Our winter was more like spring than our spring.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So I was doing that all winter long anyway, and then when the shutdown hit, I still went out for walks, even though it was freezing cold going into late April,
Right,
which I don't understand. But whatever. So I was lucky because I had this place to escape to. It kept me sane, being able to not only go walk around, but walk around with like the co-host of my show, for example, who's a licensed guide.
Right.
And I'm studying to become a licensed guide, so we would go over the battle, and I would try to explain to him, what I think I know, and he would correct me or whatever.
Right, sure.
So it was good, but not everybody has that. Not everybody their escape is the gym.
So you're thinking like a guy. We'll just use a guy for an example that lives in the city or Hoboken or something, New Jersey. It's a real not metropolitan, but
it's metropolitan.
Yeah, to where he pays $2,500 a month for a 600 square foot apartment. And the gym is his
outlet.
His outlet to where now he's stuck in that 600 square foot apartment by himself.
Yeah.
And you can't even go to the gym or a park. Or a park. See, that's
you weren't allowed at the parks?
No, see, Montclair. That's where, because what happened was they shut down everything, and then I went over, I was going to the park and working out. And then they shut down the parks, and I was like, holy cow, man. Okay, all right.
So where were you allowed to go?
Nowhere. Go stay home. They wanted you to stay home.
See, and that's why I'm glad I got out of New Jersey. So your original question was
going back to Jersey.
Why did I live here before? Yeah, I did. I moved here in 2005 to start Gettysburg tours.
Okay, wait a minute. No, so this is I want to find out because I don't. Do you talk about this on your show?
Gettysburg?
No, but how you ended up here doing this?
Yeah, we've talked about it, yeah.
Have you? Oh, okay.
Why? But I can repeat it.
Yeah, but so you came down here just to start the bike tour. 100%, like that's what brought you down here.
Well,
you didn't chase a woman down here?
No.
Damn it. No, I thought.
Hell no. I would never, ever, ever move. I've known too many people who have done that, and just no, I would never do that.
You're not gonna, okay, all right.
They can move for me, but I ain't moving for them. But because I don't,
Damn.
I can't. No, it's because I'm just not happy anywhere but here. It's a weird, it's a weird thing, and I've spoken to some people who get it. I recently did an episode on my podcast called "Why Gettysburg."
Okay,
and it's a question I always at the beginning when I first started doing the podcast when I would have someone on for the first time as a guest, the first question I would ask them is why Gettysburg? And they would all have a different answer. Like the historians often would say, well, there's a convergence of 10 roads and Lee's army was up in Pennsylvania invading. The North was slowly lagging behind, this whole thing.
Yeah.
But most people go with a spiritual answer. And they're essentially the same, but they're varied in the details. And I can only speak for myself.
Right.
But when I first came here, I was already interested in history and the Civil War because of growing up and going to Virginia and going to the Civil War battlefields down there, Manassas, Fredericksburg, etc.
Yeah, sure.
But
we visited a lot of those while we were down on vacation.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We spent a lot of time at Harper's Ferry.
I love Harper's Ferry.
Yeah, we had a good time.
That's like my second favorite place to this.
Huh.
Third favorite place is Antietam, which is down in Maryland.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I've been to those battlefields, blah, blah, blah. And then senior year in high school, I had an elective class, and it was military history. And we watched the movie Gettysburg, and we took a field trip down here for a day. And as I just remember, as soon as we, just not too far away over there's another road that, for argument's sake, parallels the road in front of us, but it doesn't actually parallel. They diverge. Right. But anyway, that road where the cars are out there. When we came out that road in the bus and we crested the ridge and I saw the battlefield before me, which I've done at a million battlefields in Virginia, how many millions of times in my entire life up until then. This particular ridge cresting, I felt felt something like, this sounds corny, but like it grabbed me in my soul.
Yeah, it don't sound corny.
No, it does.
Yeah.
It sounds very corny. And so I went home and I said to my dad, we got to go there. This is like nothing we've ever seen.
Was he big into
he's always had
Civil War
interest in it, but he was never... I remember the books that he always had were varied. I mean, he would have fiction, he would have nonfiction. The various things interested him.
Yeah, yep, okay.
Still do. But he certainly had an appreciation for history. If we'd go to a historic site, he'd always be reading the plaques like your typical dad.
Yeah, I was going to say, sure.
And of course, as a kid, I'm like, oh, come on, let's go.
Hurry up.
And now I read all the plaques. But but I went, and so he and I started coming here every 4th of July weekend.
Now, did they have like a festival and stuff here on 4th of July, or did they do anything?
Yeah, the anniversary of the battle is July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then the 4th of July, of course, is Independence Day. So, they have reenactments, and there's a reenactment that has been put on, but there's a whole bunch of stuff with that now that... It's not the Park Service that does it. It's a private company, and they stopped doing it, and now other people are trying to pick up the banner, and we'll see how that goes. But
now, do you get into all that, the reenactment stuff?
No, I want to get laid. It's like, here's the thing.
So wait a minute. So you're gonna find a woman, you're gonna get married, and then once you got that set up like that, then you'll do the reenactment.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
That's when the sex stops. So, no. So,
there's a bug crawling across my computer.
Oh, you gotta
check
kill
that
it.
out.
Just
hey,
smash
buddy.
it.
Hey, buddy. All right.
Reenactors serve a purpose for sure. People like to see them. A lot of them are very good historians. Like they actually study and they take it seriously. The reenacting and all that jazz, and they understand that the public, even though the public doesn't know that they're just playing dress up, essentially, they're not technically historians, although some can be. You understand what I mean?
Okay, but then do they have these reenactments? Say you got 100 guys and ladies out there all dressed up. Do you have like a producer or like a director out there that's a historian that say, okay, you all need to line up here and you're going to head to that ridge and half of you are going to die, kind of like directs it?
Yeah, is that how those happen? Yeah, they have coordinators. Each side has a commander, and then I think there's like an overall commander or something. I'm not totally sure. I've never done it.
Oh, okay.
But I've known reenactors, and this is what I've gleaned over the years from them. I'm teasing a little bit.
Of course.
See, the problem I always had with them was, here, I'll give you a story. Okay.
Here we go.
I'm walking down the street.
Every great story. Look, he even looked around. He was like, hold on. I got a story.
I want to see who's listening. So this is years ago. I'm walking down the street, not far from where we ate dinner. Every story is going to start with, I'm at this place, not far from where we ate dinner. It's always going to be in there, even though it may be far from where we ate dinner.
It's like no good story ever started with, so we were eating a salad.
Right. Even though I had a salad at dinner. So not too far from where we ate dinner. And I'm walking down the street. It's a much hotter night than this, but it's I believe either Memorial Day weekend or 4th of July weekend, because there's a lot of reenactors in town, a lot of people in town.
No, do they stay in their reenactment stuff? Like, do they go to dinner in that?
Oh yeah.
Do they stay in character?
Oh,
really?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, if I thought about it, I would guess that they would.
Okay, in their defense, they're coming right off of the field or the lawn or
I get that part, but what I'm saying though is, say the reenactment that they're going to do is on Sunday at noon, and they get in town on Friday. Do they stay in their clothing?
Well, the reenactment, okay, like the annual big reenactment for the past 30 or whatever years, that was done on a farm outside of town, and it was a 4-day event. So there were battle reenactments every day. They would camp out there. Now, some guys, for various reasons, would get hotel rooms. So there would be guys that would shower. Yeah, I mean, they were older, like they needed the comforts of home and stuff, and I understand that.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, so but they'll go into the restaurants because they're coming right from, you're not going to go change and everything.
Yeah, I get it.
And they also, I think they like it because people talk to them. They want to take pictures with them.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
anyway, so I'm walking down the street, not too far from where we ate dinner, and I'm walking behind this young couple. He's dressed as a soldier. She's dressed as a maiden. And they're walking, arm in arm and everything like that, like they would have back in those days.
Yeah, sure.
Going for a stroll through town in the evening, taking in the night air. And coming the opposite direction is the 40-year-older version of him and his girlfriend, a major and his wife, arm in arm. Now, this boy in front of me is, I believe he was a second lieutenant, so that's lower than a major.
Yep.
And as they pass, the kid says, hey, or hello, or something like that, and keeps on going. And the guy, the major, stops him, turns around, and he says, Lieutenant. The kid stops, and he turns around, and he goes, yeah? He goes,
yeah, what's up?
What's up, yo? He's like, did you forget something? And he goes,
did he like pat
what?
himself like, you forgot your wallet? You're like patting your pockets.
It's like, look, forget my glasses? And he goes, no, what? And he goes,
what?
He goes, you're looking at a superior officer. And the kid goes, fuck you, dude. You're not even in my unit. And he keeps on going.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But so when I witnessed that.
Fuck you, dude.
When I witnessed that the guy took it so seriously. Like, dude, you're doing, this is a hobby.
Yeah.
You're not really in the Army. You're not really a major. He's not really a lieutenant.
Yeah. That's like
you're dressing him down because he didn't salute you.
Dude, that'd be like on Halloween.
Yes.
You going down somewhere, you walking somewhere and doing something like that when you guys are dressed up for Halloween.
Right.
Seriously, dude?
It's like, no, you guys have to listen to me. I'm President Trump. It's just a mask, Matt. It doesn't matter. I'm the best President Trump mask ever.
Hey, speaking of costumes, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Or this is my opinion, because I worked in the bar business forever.
Okay.
Right, back in the day. And Halloween is for girls to just insert name of costume. No.
Naughty blank.
Blank. There you go.
Yeah.
Slutty blank. So,
right.
And then guys are the same way, macho this.
Gay. Oh, yes. Right.
Well, do you feel that's true? Like costumes?
I do. And what bothers me, and I'm pretty like, I'm kind of a curmudgeon with a lot of things. And one of them is...
Can you spell that?
Curmudgeon, I believe.
Somebody check that for us.
Somebody check that, please. Curmudgeon. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of a curmudgeon with certain things. One of them is Halloween past the 6th grade.
Wow, you 6th grade?
Yeah. Listen, America, listen to me, please.
If you can hear my voice.
If you can hear my voice, listen, take heed. There's nothing wrong with becoming an adult. We do not need to prolong our childhood into our 40s.
Okay, so...
Go ahead.
The reason for Halloween when you're 40 going to a bar?
Pathetic.
No.
What?
No. Well, you could add... You're right. Is... I believe that if you have the opportunity to dress up, secretly that's what you want to be.
Well, let's see. When I was a little kid doing Halloween.
Okay, I said when you were 40, not when you were a little kid.
Well, wait a second. I was a Civil War soldier.
Were you really?
I was a Revolutionary War soldier.
Oh, wow.
I was a pirate. I was, what the hell else was I?
Curmudgeon?
I was definitely a curmudgeon one year. I think I was a drunk guy.
What's a curmudgeon look like?
Well, he wears a Lowenbrow cap.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a baseball cap that says Lowenbrow on it.
Lowenbrow?
And he's got a beer belly. He wears a stained white T-shirt.
And he would say stuff like, life's a garden, dig it, make it work for you.
No, he'd be like,
Joe Dirt.
Quit your belly aching.
Oh, one of those.
One of those guys.
Their sleeves are cut off, right?
Cut off or torn off accidentally.
No.
Or they're wrapping a pack of cigarettes like Schneider.
You're not that cool, right?
No, that is cool. That was very cool.
Yeah, but the whole other outfit didn't go along with the cigarettes wrapped in a... You got to have like...
No, that wouldn't be a curmudgeon. He wouldn't...
No,
he would just have them in his shirt pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
No, so your question is... Okay, so well...
So like what I'm saying...
What were you when you were 40? Are you over 40? How old are you? Does your audience know?
Yeah, I'm 45.
Oh, are you? Are you sure?
I think so. I was born in 75.
When
you 45.
Yeah, that makes sense. When you were 40, what were you for Halloween?
No,
Gordon Gecko.
No. Biker.
So you secretly want to be a biker?
Well,
but you have a motorcycle.
That's what I rode to work every day was my motorcycle. So that was what I was.
So that's nothing.
Yeah, but you see these. No, you see these girls come in. Now, one of the best. Hold on a second. I just remembered this. One of the best Halloween costumes I ever saw was a guy walked up with low boots.
Yeah,
and a sock over his cock, and that was it. Because it wasn't that like Red Hot Chili Peppers or something. I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah,
they did that.
The whole band did that.
Yeah,
like the Rolling Stone magazine.
I go, dude, if you got the balls to come in here dressed like that, come on in. He was
so who was this that did this?
A customer at the bar.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Jesus Christ.
I would never have the nerve to do that.
No. So it's just Halloween costumes always fascinated me, and I always just thought that's what people really want to be. Like
that guy wants to be a naked guy with a sock.
Right?
On
Come
his
on,
wiener.
there's an asterisk to everything, dude. I mean, we're generalizing here.
Okay.
Now, all right. So let's come back around.
Yeah, please.
You came down to Gettysburg. Now, how'd you get hooked up with the bike tour thing?
I started it.
Oh, so you started it.
It was my ticket out of New Jersey. I came down here in 2004. I put together like a family reunion type of thing. My family in Virginia I invited, and my family and friends from New Jersey. We all came down here. We all met here for a weekend.
All right.
And I got out. I should have brought it with me so you could see how nerdy I am.
Dude, we ain't seeing nothing where we are right now.
Oh, I know. Well,
we're in the dark.
True. That's true. I'll show you tomorrow.
All right.
I call it the Gettysburg Grail Diary. Remember Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade?
Oh yeah, great movie.
The Grail Diary, Sean Connery's Grail Diary. I got a little leather-bound notebook, and I took notes on a book called Gettysburg: A Testing of Courage by Noah Andre Trudeau. Listeners, get it? It's good. And my plan was to give everybody a walking tour of the battlefield. Now, until this point, I had only driven around the battlefield. I had never actually gone out and walked. I'd certainly never ridden a bike, so I didn't realize, and this is the whole point of everything I do now, well, not the whole point, but a big chunk of it, is that you've got to get out and walk because you don't get a sense of anything from a car or a bus. You might as well watch film of someone driving
if you're going in a car or a bus.
If you're going in a car or a bus,
now,
because you've got that pane of glass. You don't get a full view because you have to like bend down to look out the window at something that's up above the car.
Right.
Bicycling, 360-degree view. Well, you shouldn't use the 360-degree view because you might fall off the bike.
Yeah, but also too on a bike is like a motorcycle. You smell the air, you feel the breeze.
Absolutely, it is a very not sensual, but sensory thing. You and not only that, Walt, but you feel the terrain. You feel the ground undulate beneath you. Absolutely, and so you can understand why they fought over a certain piece of ground, because most of the battles were fought over high ground. And you really don't know high ground until you walk or ride it on a bike.
Yep, I get it.
So just over where that red light is.
You started walking from there?
We had my aunt drop us off there. And about 6 of us decided to start walking. Now, I didn't realize how big this was. So we walked through the area there and then whatever. And then we didn't even get a mile. Okay. It's 95 degrees, early July, humid as all get out. We all had 16-ounce water bottles like this. They were gone by the first quarter mile.
Yeah, sure.
And we have nobody to pick us up because nobody except for me knows where anything is here. Like if I said, come pick us up at the armory, nobody would know what the hell that meant. Yeah. And that's where we were, and we're like, it's too hot, and this is way too big, and how are we going to do this? So I said, well, look, here, we can cut across and get back to the hotel and go swimming in the pool if we go a little further down. And that's what we ended up doing. We did that. But along the way, my friend goes, man, I wish we brought bikes.
Ding.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
Because my brother-in-law had a hotel desk bell with him for some reason, and he just hit it just at that moment. No.
I was just going to say, fuck, dude, you had me there for a second.
Now, a light bulb went off, and I said, that's it. That's my ticket out of New Jersey. I haven't noticed any bike rental places, but I'm going to do one better. I'm going to do bicycle tours. Because I believe, I always have, that history, when possible, should be experienced. Now, we can't experience a civil war
you're not going to get shot at as you go through there. Yeah, but going back to the bike and the walking thing, I totally agree with you on that. And like, we travel a lot.
Yeah.
And to really see a city or a place, you got to walk it.
Absolutely.
Got to walk it.
It's really the best way to get a feel for it.
Yeah.
But so experience. You have to experience things. Well, driving in a car, you don't experience. You just don't. It's like the most passive thing to do. You're not even experiencing the temperature outside.
In a car, right?
In a car, okay?
Yeah, but most people don't want to.
I know they don't want to, but the thing is, it's like most people don't want to exercise, but once they do, they go, wow, this feels great, right?
Yeah.
So same thing when you experience something new. You go, you don't want to do it. The idea doesn't sound good, but then you find yourself doing it, and you go, my God, I'm so glad I did this.
Yeah, of
course. And it's the same thing with bike tours. I can't tell you how many times when we do these bike tours. Well, anyway, so let me finish the story. So I go home from that trip. I start planning the bike company. I spend every day. I come home from work, even on days like my friends want to go out and drink and stuff. I'm like, no, I got work to do.
So did you model it like on a city bike type thing?
No, because I wanted it to be. I wanted bikes to be the last thing it was about. The bike is inconsequential or insignificant. It's your vehicle.
Sure.
Okay. If you're a cyclist and you think, oh, we'll do a bike tour and get our 60 miles in today. Go.
Is that how they sound?
That's the way they. Yeah. Like, I'd like to get my 60 miles in. How many miles is this tour?
Well, I was going to say, how many miles is it?
Well, there's a couple of different routes. There's 25 miles of tour road, whatever, here that you could do.
Okay.
We don't do 25 miles.
Because I'm doing this.
The one you're doing in the morning is probably about 10.
That ain't bad.
And that's not 10 miles out. That's round trip. Anyway, what was I saying?
Well, no, you were planning the.
Oh, so yeah,
the company, and then.
So I'm 27 years old, everybody's still going out to bars and drinking and stuff, and I'm like, no, I got stuff to do. I'd come home from work, I would just work it all out in my head. What, you lost it?
No, give me a light.
Oh, I would just work it all out in my head, and I was no longer interested in doing things that 27-year-olds do.
You were looking to, I mean, your passion with Gettysburg and down here and your love of the place, you figured why not combine the two, right?
Yeah. And I had just taken up riding bikes at that point.
Right.
I'd retaken it up since I was a kid. My friends and I would go, we would wait until nighttime and stupidly go riding around Morris County.
That's a whole other story.
Without lights or anything. Yeah. We were really, it's amazing we didn't get killed. But anyway, so I was already into biking, and I was like, okay, this is something that we're going to do, and it's going to be great and everything like that. And I wanted it to feel like you were having a Civil War experience, except that it's on a bicycle, which hadn't been invented yet. But
you're not getting shot at.
And you're not getting shot at. But I wanted it to be like you were in the cavalry. So
okay.
Like the horses replaced with bicycles. But so like if you look at our logo, there's 2 crossed sabers on it and bicycles riding down the sabers. And
okay.
Cross sabers
I haven't seen it yet,
you'll see it tomorrow. Cross sabers are the symbol for the cavalry.
Sure. And isn't it yellow?
Yellow is their color. Yeah, very good. So anyway, that was July. It started July of 2004. By June 30th of 2005, we opened. And the first 5 years were really tough. I'd had it by the end of those 5 years. And I took my girlfriend at the time. She asked me if I could take her parents and her were into reenacting, and she asked me if I could take her out to this place called the Cashtown Inn, which is out in those mountains there where those lights are. And I said, yeah, why? What's going on? And she goes, oh, there's this TV show in town, and I'm an extra. And I said, oh, okay. So while I'm down there, I'm sitting on the porch working on bike stuff, my book or whatever, making calls. I don't know what the hell I was doing. But a producer walks by, and I said, hey, let me ask you a question. How does somebody get involved in this? Like, how do you get a job doing this? She's like, well, it's kind of who you know. And I said, oh, okay.
Well, there goes that.
Yeah.
Right.
So an hour later, she comes over. She goes, hey, are you working tomorrow? And I go, no, actually, I'm not. And she's like, would you like to? And I said, yes, actually, I would. So I went with a camera crew to get B-roll. I took them to all the cool spots to get shots and everything like that. We got an awesome shot off a little round top of a thunderstorm coming across the valley.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was great. And
time lapse?
Time lapse, yep. And
nice.
Then we're at the bar that night, and the director comes over, and she goes, would you be willing to be on camera? And I said, hell yeah. And she goes, because we need somebody to do, something for a recreation. Now, this was a ghost show, okay? Like, haunted Gettysburg or whatever the hell it was.
All right.
But it was on the Travel Channel.
Now, is that what your girlfriend was going to be an extra in, that show?
Yeah.
Okay.
She got pissed at me because she's like, of course you had to one-up me. And
I was going to say,
you
fucking took her spot, dude. Blew up her spot.
No, she still had her spot. So we were both in it. Whatever. She was immature. So the next day, I come in and then here I am on the camera. And it was just wonderful.
Like, what was your part on the camera though? Like, what'd you do?
It was actually, we shot it right over in those woods down there. There's a bit like a train garage, like repair garage.
Oh, that's cool. Like,
yeah.
It's still going?
What?
What's the train garage? I like trains, dude.
It's like where they repair trains, work on trains.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, there's a track that goes right down at the bottom of this ridge.
Oh, okay.
And you can pull off in there and get some work done or whatever.
Because gotta change a tire.
So the story was this guy, Sam Beistlein was his name. He was working there, and he was alone. Of course, these ghost stories are all the same.
I was alone.
No one else was there. I know.
Just like a good slasher movie. You got your
Exactly.
It's a standard thing.
I was alone and topless. So he's alone.
And I ran toward the noise.
Yeah. Hey, I went to investigate what scared the hell out of me. Hello? Is anybody there?
I don't have my shirt on.
I'm wearing this very tight white shirt, and oops, I spilled ice water on it.
Oh, gosh. Anyway. Okay.
So Sam's there just, doing his job. He's painting one of the trains, and he sees out of his periphery, he sees the shadow walk by in the car. And then he hears a noise or sees it again or something, I don't remember, and he goes around to investigate and doesn't see anything or whatever. And that was it. That was the story.
Were you the guy?
I was the guy painting. I'm there painting.
I was just going to say, and you had to look around the corner?
I stop, I put the brush down, and I go and I look around the corner. I don't see anything.
So you didn't get your SAG card because you didn't have any lines.
I didn't have any lines.
Damn, dude.
I know.
I was an extra. I had 4 lines, man. I should have given my SAG card, right?
Really? Yeah, you're supposed to. Well, was it a SAG?
It was an indie film.
Was it a SAG project, though? Like, doesn't it have
I have
to be,
no
or
idea.
Does that matter?
I have no idea, because when I was with the film company...
You don't want to do that.
No, shit, no. But when I was with the film company, I'd always look for jobs for us to do, right?
Yeah.
Right? So where I was looking for jobs for us to do, they always had, hey, you want to be an extra? So I was throwing my headshot out. And you ever see that headshot of me with... Patino took it.
Yeah.
The black and white one?
Yeah.
Looks like a... I don't know.
Like Cary Grant.
No.
Or Danny Aiello.
Oh, that maybe. So I would throw...
Anthony Quinn.
I would throw that one in, and then actually I would put if you look on my website, on the About Me page, that picture. So I'd have that picture and then that black and white one.
Okay.
I'll throw the black and white one up on my Instagram so people can see it. And so they called me and they said, hey, can you come and, being an extra, they're like, hey, man, can you come and over this time, this day, this place, all that bullshit. So I go, and the guy gives me a index card and goes, read those 4 lines. And he goes, don't think about it, just read it. And I look at it and I'm like, and I can't quite remember all of it, but it was like, basically, leave me the fuck alone. What the fuck you looking at? It was something like that, right?
You got the job.
So I said that, and I read it, and he goes, huh, read that again, but a little more force. So I fucking, and I spit it out. He's like, can you be here on this day, whatever? And I said, yeah, no problem. So I show up, and just if anybody's ever done extras in acting, I don't know if you ever did. Like,
I have, yeah. I was in John Adams.
No shit. Oh, Val loves that movie.
Does
or that
she?
show. Yeah. We'll
Val, I was in John Adams. Okay.
You can hear it in the back. And the guy goes, what's your name? And this, that, and the other. And he goes, okay, go wait over there. And of course you wait like 7 hours, and you're just hanging out. So I get called over, and they go, put these on. And it was prison jumpsuit, basically.
Oh, okay.
And the instructions I had, they said the only thing you need to wear is basically a wife beater. I said, okay. So they said, put this jumpsuit on, take it down and tie it around the waist. So you're only wearing half of it, I said, okay. And I waited another couple hours. They called me over, and they made my skin all like...
Oily?
No, like all like ash, like it was really dry.
Oh. Ugh.
And they slicked my hair back.
Uh-huh.
Right? And they kind of... I had a goatee at the time. They kind of fucked with it a little bit. And they brought me in this room, and it was like a jail cell. And they go, sit on the bottom bunk like this. And the guy demonstrated, like, with your feet on the floor, and you're reading... Here, he gave me some shitty old book. He goes, read this book. Pretend like you're reading this book. Or whatever. And he goes, and a guard's going to come by, and he's going to bang on the door, and you got to read your lines. Do you remember your lines? And I go, yeah. He goes, what are they? And I said it, and I told him. And the guard walked by, and he banged down the door. I yelled at him. And the guy goes, one more time. Banged down the door. I yelled at him. He goes, you're good. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, we're done. I said, okay. So I walked out, and the lady goes, we need those coveralls back. Give them back. She gave me a business card and an envelope with $400 in it.
Nice. Cash?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Down the fucking road I went.
What was the project?
I don't even know anymore. But it was cool. It was a cool experience. It's just a pain in the ass. You sit there all fucking day. I didn't expect to get paid. And then another one was they were filming a band playing in a bar, quote unquote a bar.
Yeah.
So you just had to come and like hang out like you're at a bar, and they had beer there and everything. So basically, I just watched it, and they ran around with a camera and filmed stuff. Gave me $50, and down the road I went. I had a bunch of those. It was kind of fun.
I was
though,
in one that shot at what was the name of that bar? Was it in Morristown? Was it Sonos or Sonoma or?
Oh, yeah, up on South Street.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Was it on South Street? I don't remember where the hell. Maybe it wasn't that. I don't know, but it was in the. There was they have like a basement bar, and
that's the laundromat now. It's called the laundromat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, whatever it was.
Well, it was back when I was a couple years ago. I'd have to probably change by now.
This was a few years ago. Tony Germanario is a filmmaker from the area, and he was a guest on my old show, and a frequent guest on my old show, and we had a lot of fun with him, and so I talked him into giving me and my friend extras.
Oh, no shit! Huh?
And we just had to sit at the bar and drink.
No, that's
like,
tough.
How hard is this?
Now, speaking of that,
you colored water.
Oh no, this one that I was at, there's like, hey, there's beers in the cooler, just start drinking.
Oh,
okay,
that's not very professional. What was the question?
Now I remember, didn't you have our buddy Ash on the show, your old show?
Yeah.
Now, was that your first podcast project?
No, the first one I did actually down here, but it wasn't about Gettysburg.
What was it about?
I had this. I loved Howard Stern growing up, and it was really the only talk radio I listened to. So it was really the only thing I knew how to imitate, which is really what it was. And so it was a show that was that style, like, afternoon drive or whatever. But we would only do them once a month. It was different back then because it was all a very new thing, and everybody's yeah, I've heard of a podcast, but how does one podcast? And
okay, moving on.
And you didn't have iPhones. I think the iPhone might have been brand new, and
where were they listening to it? Just on a computer?
You'd have to, I think. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd be lucky if I got 300 downloads in a month.
Yeah.
But
and then what'd you do? Come up to Morristown?
So when I did this thing here with my girlfriend, when I did that ghost show, I called my friend back in Jersey, Mark, and I said, I caught the bug, Mark. Now, I'd always dabbled in production since I was a little kid.
Okay.
I was a musician. As soon as I figured out how to use the video camera, I was making videos around the house and, all that stuff. So, and I always liked directing, and I wanted to be a director, but I also liked acting. So I wanted to be like Kevin Costner, where I'm not that great of an actor, but
hey man, I'm a huge Kevin Costner fan. I love that dude.
A lot of my favorite movies are Kevin Costner movies, and I'm like, why?
Oh, you like Yellow?
I'm like Chris Griffin. I'm like, how does that guy keep getting work? So, but I love the movies that he's in.
You like Yellowstone?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh,
is
dude.
it good?
Hands down the best TV show on the planet right now.
I'm going to get into it.
And anybody can fight me on that.
I need a new TV show. No, that's what I'm hearing.
Oh, my God,
everybody
dude.
says it's great.
Start from the beginning. You got to start. Oh, my God.
Where the hell else am I going to start?
Well, people like to get right into it. Oh, dude.
I got to let it.
You got to binge it, dude.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. So I called Mark and I said, I caught the bug. And he goes, well, now Mark did As Seen on TV commercials.
Okay. Do I know Mark? Did I ever meet Mark?
Yeah, I don't think you've ever met Mark.
Okay.
And other type of commercials as well. And so he's like, well, if you can get back here to Jersey, I can get you more work. And in the meantime, he would throw me a PA gig here and there, and I'd come in for the weekend or whatever, and do it for a couple $100 or whatever it was. But it took me about 2 years to get out from under Gettysburg. And so I finally did, and I sold it. I only really made back what I put into it.
Well,
at least I did that, right?
Yeah.
And
that's your win according to Vegas. That's a win.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, then great, I won. And so I didn't want to move back to New Jersey, so I moved to the Poconos, just over the river. And I said, an hour drive.
It's like hugging a prostitute.
Exactly.
You're not committing.
Yeah. So I go, everybody in the neighborhood that I lived in at that time, they all commuted to New Jersey.
Sure.
But I didn't realize that they had their jobs first in New Jersey and then moved to Pennsylvania. Here I'm looking to get a job in New Jersey because there's
Living
no
in
jobs
Pennsylvania.
in the Poconos, and live in Pennsylvania and Jersey. Nobody ever got back to me. But anyway, I got a couple of gigs with him. But what he was working on when he told me to move, that if I move back, he can get me work, was no longer happening.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Because it was 2 years later. And
Yep,
he didn't
yep.
update me, and I didn't check with him. And so I moved back, and he's like, I don't really have much work for you now. But eventually he did. And, I mean, we went out to Vegas and shot a couple commercials, one with Chris Angel and one with Holly Madison. I saw her buttocks. And
High point of your life?
unfortunately, it was. And so... but...
Now, did
Again,
you, was this
wait.
in your, but this was like in your garage or something, wasn't it? Or like
What are you
the
talking-
podcast?
Oh, I'm not there yet.
Oh, man. See, I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah. So
All right.
anyway, I get into video work, and then I meet Ashley, and she hires me for some weddings and stuff, and I
Yep,
get
yep.
into the wedding thing. That's where I met you. Now, at that time, I was also doing podcasts, and it was another attempt at trying to, do the Howard Stern thing. But me and my co-host have finally, after like 3 years of doing it, we're like, I'm getting tired of fart jokes.
Yeah.
And like we were like, I want to put something out into the world that has value.
Sure. Yeah, I get it.
And so he said, well, why don't you do that Gettysburg podcast that you've been talking about for years? And I go, you know what? I think I'm going to. But, I had some like personal problems, like a really deep depression and everything. And I needed to like change my life. And, he's my best friend, the co-host. He's my best friend, and he knows me better than probably anybody. And he's like, look, you're miserable here. What's keeping you here?
No, you're still in Jersey.
This is in
point.
Jersey.
Yeah.
He's like, go back to Gettysburg, study to become a guide. He's like, we're 40. It's over. You're never going to get this fame or all this stuff you've been chasing. He's like, it's not happening. He's like, so figure out what you can do. And he's like, I think you should go and get, study to get the license to become a guide in Gettysburg. You love it there. He's like, every time you go and visit, you come back and you say it's depressing. You to come back. You're at home when you feel like you're at home when you're there, and it's true. And I know I feel like I'm at home down here because I never felt it at home.
Right.
And I didn't have a bad childhood. It's not like anything like that where it's like, my dad threw whiskey bottles.
Locked up in the basement and shit.
No,
right? No.
The house I lived in felt like home, but New Jersey did not. There's nothing that I found redeeming about New Jersey except for 24-hour diners.
Yeah. Well, when I understand what you're saying
I
because
have
when
the
I was
belly to prove it.
Yeah. When I was 20, I moved to Colorado. And when I landed in Colorado, I mean stepped foot out of my pickup that I drove out there, I just felt and I'd never been to Colorado before that. And it just
you got that feeling of home?
Oh, I was like, this is where I belong.
So why'd you come out here?
Work. I retired from my old job, and I was super unhappy in my marriage and just had to change things up a little bit. So I get where you're coming from, You think that if I knew then what I know now, the location doesn't change you, It's like you bring whatever you are wherever you go, I believe.
See, I agree with that.
But your environment affects you, right?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
As somebody that's been in solitary confinement for 6 months,
Yeah.
So
yeah, no,
there's that.
And that's the thing. Like, I think for some people, place doesn't matter, and for other people, it's everything. And I'm one of the people where it's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to the podcast thing, what I wanted to bring up was, I was in high school. I wanted to be a radio DJ, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we could do this overnight thing." And a good buddy of mine's like, "I don't know if that'll be good for you because it's a one-sided conversation, right? You're just talking
Right.
into a mic. Unlike now, you and I are going back and forth.
Yeah.
And,
You have to have a co-host.
right.
Or a guest to talk to, in
Right.
your case.
So-
I needed a co-host.
Yeah, so I kind of gave up on that, and then doing some other things, public speaking and getting up in story slams. I love doing those.
Yeah.
You know what those are?
I've seen him.
Like on the Moth. Moth was a big inspiration for this. But what I'm saying though is going back when you were doing that, I was like, wonder if that would fit what I'm trying to do. So that was rolling around in my brain back then.
Oh, you're saying I'm your inspiration?
Well,
come on, Walt.
No,
admit it.
Nah,
See?
a little bit.
Okay.
But like seeing you do it, and I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool. And then even at that point, people were like, a what? How do you what? Pod
Yeah.
what? Cast what?
Yeah.
You know, and then it just blew up. And I think, this is my opinion, I think it has blown up because the uncensorship or the I don't have I don't have somebody saying you should say more of this because it got more likes, or you shouldn't say this because it'll offend
Correct.
somebody.
You're real.
I could say fucking anything I want.
And also the mob hasn't really. I mean, like they've gone after Joe Rogan a bit, but the thing is, Joe Rogan doesn't give a fuck.
No, he don't give a fuck.
and why doesn't he give a fuck? Because he doesn't need. He doesn't. First of all, he's not affiliated with a network. He's not hired by someone. He's doing his own thing, and he's listener supported. And now he has his sponsors.
Sure.
And they may say, "Well, Joe, we don't like that you're doing this," but his sponsors are in line with him.
Right.
Like they're in line, and that's the thing too. Is like the sponsors that we have and that we're seeking to get more of for our show are Gettysburg people and businesses, because did we explain that I do a podcast about Gettysburg yet?
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. But
Okay. Well, all right.
Fucking
so just
spoiler alert.
real quick. They're Gettysburg businesses and things because I want our listeners to come here, and I want them to know. I want like our commercial breaks to sound like an itinerary.
Sure, I get that.
You know, and I'm not gonna get Blue Apron. I'm not going to do that stupid thing where you hear all these people that
or
do
Squarespace and everything
or Squarespace,
else, right?
yeah. Because listen, here's a little secret for all you podcast listeners out there. If you notice that every true crime podcast, especially, has Blue Apron and Squarespace and what's that online shrink that you can go to, like Living Well or something like that.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
There's some. It's like you pay whatever a month and you could talk to a shrink online or on the phone or something like that.
All right.
There's a service that you sign up for, and then you pick and choose which ones you want to do or which ones you qualify for.
Right,
so it's not like
right.
Blue Apron says to True Crime Garage, let's say. I don't know if that's one of their sponsors, but let's just, because it's the only one I can think of.
Right.
They're like, oh, hey guys, like we really want to sponsor you. Or it's not like True Crime Garage goes to Blue Apron and says, hey, would you sponsor?
Right.
It's a service.
Service right off their platform. Probably.
So I don't want anything to do with that because that has nothing to do with my show, has nothing to do with my audience. So I want Gettysburg, we're advertising Gettysburg.
Yeah, but like you were saying, I think that's a good plan. We were talking off air to where you want people. There's so much more to Gettysburg, right, than the history. Like right now, it's a fucking cool little town.
It is. It's an awesome town.
We pulled in. And I was like, this is a neat little town.
And you dopes out there that like ghost stories and believe they're real. There are like, did I say dopes? I mean, you wonderful people that think that there's like 12 ghost tour companies here.
Is there really?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
So you got to spend more than a night here.
Yeah, I know.
Next time you come for like a weekend.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But yeah, there's a lot here. And if you're interested, like agritourism is a thing around here. Adams County, Pennsylvania, which is where we are, is like a huge agricultural area. We've got orchards everywhere. Like where I was earlier today while you guys were driving down is the apple, what is it? The National Apple Museum, which I had no idea there was such a thing. Yeah, but I was up there because my friend's family, I think, owns it or something like that, or is somehow affiliated with it.
And they were having some music up there.
They're having music.
I saw your post. Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah. So
what's on the agenda for Gettysburg podcast? So now you host this cool podcast, and I got to tell you, man, we were driving up from vacation.
Yeah.
And would you call it the narrative episode?
Narrative episodes.
Oh, man. Dude, the way you put those together,
yeah,
they're fucking cool.
Thank you, Walt.
Yeah, no, with the voices. And again, So
Now, wait, explain that. When you say voices, it's not like we're doing like Kermit the Frog or anything like that.
no, that's what I'm going to get to. What I thought was awesome, obviously the editing with the music and the sound effects was really cool, right? It's just entertaining.
Thank you.
Right?
That's the goal.
Right. And then what's really neat, what I enjoyed was the different timelines. So you have, and I'm just going to spitball and don't correct me.
Okay.
This
is just a made-up example.
Yeah. The Union Army is over here and they're advancing at this pace and this, that, and the other. And then meanwhile, then there's a lady that starts, because you're narrating that part. And then there's a lady narrating a part that like she's reading from a diary. And it's like a civilian's
Right.
How they feel with all the shit going around. And then it goes to another timeline and then back and back. It's just really cool, man. I really like how you put it together.
Thank you.
So if you like the history of, even if you don't get into Civil War history, it's a very entertaining.
This is the thing.
And very informative. Got a lot of facts and stuff in it.
Our motto at Addressing Gettysburg is the name of the show, by the way. And our motto is history is not boring. And and frankly, there's more to it. It's history is not boring. Your teachers were.
Ooh.
Okay. But I get a lot of complaints from teachers.
Yeah, just leave history is not boring.
Well, but it's true that the reason why people think history is boring, I will bet you hands down, I can get anybody interested in the history here if they come here.
Well, I think they do that off your podcast.
Well, no, I mean, see, some people really need to have things in their face. So the people that can get it off the podcast, good, thank you. I'm glad because, you saved yourself a trip, but now come out here.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
but there's some people that are really dense and they need to actually see it in front of them, and those are the people I'm talking about. Those are the people that go, nah, history's boring. No, it isn't. It was presented to you. This is probably a more politically correct way to say it than your teachers were. It was presented to you in a boring way, and therefore you think it's boring.
Well, I think it was presented to you on a timeline. Okay, I have a week to present this. I'm just going to rip through the storybook. Right. So I get that.
History is just real people, right? It's the story of people. I say to people, like, if you think history's boring, then you must think that your own life is boring. And I find that sad because every one of us is living history
100%
every moment of the day. Now, here's 100%. The thing. We may not feel like it now, but you don't know, Walt. In 2 years, you may be part of an international event accidentally. You're a witness to, I don't know, God forbid, a terrorist attack or, something big.
Or something good.
Well, that doesn't happen anymore.
At least we don't hear about it, right?
Yeah. Or something good.
Sure, I get it. I see what you're saying.
And now you're now someone who is a part of a major historic event, but historians are going to look back on your account, and then people will become interested in you. And what did Walt do before he witnessed the bombings in Milwaukee or whatever?
Right.
And which anybody listening from Milwaukee, I hope that never happens to you. And so that's how it goes. So like this woman, Sarah Broadhead, that you mentioned, she heard the news on June 15th, 1863, that Confederates had come into Pennsylvania and were out at Chambersburg, which is about 25 miles northwest of Gettysburg. So she decided, I'm going to start a diary. Her diary's only about a month and a half long. She wasn't keeping one beforehand. She didn't continue it much longer afterwards. But she said, well, this is momentous. I'm going to keep a diary.
Right.
So I don't think she misses a day. I could be wrong on that, but she basically gets every day.
So she writes in it every day.
She writes in it every day, the news of the day and the things that she's experienced and everything like that. Now her husband, Joseph, he works for the railroad. And when you know how things go, right? There's something exciting going on, and just take a look at anything that happens in the news now. And when it first happens, let's say a school shooting, you hear all these stories. Oh, there's reports of a second gunman and blah, 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 and then all this stuff. And then a couple days later, the story's refined and everything like that. Now, Alex Jones type people will go, well, whatever happened to the second gunman? Where's the folks? There was a second gunman and there's no second gunman now, right? And then But normal people realize it's because there's so much chaos and confusion.
Sure.
And the news is the media is completely irresponsible. They just want to get the
100%.
story first.
Well, yeah.
So they're going to report everything as it comes in, and then they'll figure it out later.
And they're going to elevate it to even worse news because that sells.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So there's rumors that Confederates are sacking Hanover or something like that. Hanover is to the east of us.
Okay.
And there's a rail line that goes from Gettysburg to Hanover. So her husband, Joseph, and a couple of other railroad guys go, well, let's get on the train and let's go see what's going on.
I remember listening to this in your show.
Yeah. Well, they got captured by Confederates, and they were paroled, which was this weird thing. And if you listen to the podcast, paroling comes up and we explain it and stuff. But it's this weird thing that's so foreign to us now because it required honor, and we don't have much of that anymore. So, but they were paroled by Confederates and sent up to Harrisburg, which is 50 miles to the northeast of us, to register with the parole office. Now, this is Confederates capturing them.
Going back on honor.
Yeah. But they had to go to report to American authority, United States authority, to say we were captured. Here's our papers, and then enter it into the record. It's stupid. So then they had to walk. They had to walk back. So they walked back. It took them a couple days, but they walked back. Meanwhile, Sarah's like shitting bricks.
Yeah,
like,
where's my old man?
Where's my husband?
Right.
What happened to him and everything. And finally, he comes back like at 1 a.m, and she's relieved, and thank God. Well, by 10 in the morning of that day, Confederates are right on the ridge on the other side of those trees out there in the distance, and everybody in town can see them, and they're looking out into the town because the town's kind of like in a bowl.
Okay, all right.
From that ridge, at least.
Man, how crazy would that be, being down the town and looking up and seeing all that?
Hell yeah, it
Holy
would.
shit.
But here's the thing: they don't go further than that ridge. They're kind of like on a reconnaissance. They don't go any further than that ridge because they look to the south. And to the south, they see, coming up the Emmitsburg Road, they see a division of cavalry, about 3,000 cavalrymen on horses, coming up into the town from the south. We're west of town. We're actually northwest of town. So they go, well, we have orders not to bring on a general engagement or a battle. So they turn around and head back to Cashtown, which is those lights out on the mountain there. Meanwhile, that Union cavalry comes into town, and everybody's like, oh, thank God you're here, blah, 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 blah. And then they come out to the ridges out here, and this is the day before the battle starts. Now, I skipped ahead, and that wasn't the point. My point was... my point was...
you get rambling, dude.
I know, I love this stuff. My point was that Sarah Broadhead... okay, the second narrative episode...
Yep.
Takes place from the end of the Battle of Chancellorsville and goes all the way to June 30th of 1863. So Chancellorsville's in May. June 30th, 1863 is the day before the battle begins. I like to leave you hanging.
Well, of course.
So the first part of episode 2 is about the military operations and everything like that, because it's important to know what's going on with them, because that's the impetus for everything that happens up here. But it ends after the Battle of Winchester, and after the battle, which is in Virginia, and after that battle is done, the commander, Richard Ewell, he sends a cavalry brigade under Albert Jenkins north across the Potomac River into Maryland, and then up into Pennsylvania to Chambersburg in the early morning hours of June 15th. And they get up here sometime later in the day. That's when Sarah hears the news, and she starts her diary on June 15th. So I end part 1 with the Confederates going up into Pennsylvania. So I begin part 2 with Sarah's June 15th diary entry. And now in part 2, we mostly learn about the civilian experience in the town of Gettysburg.
Well, this is all going on. The battle.
And the reason is because the military movements and operations are so freaking complicated.
Well, of course.
That unless the listener is sitting there with a map, it's going to just make their eyes go cross. So I said, you know what? Let's get to, because we're going to know these people throughout the battle, because they're hiding in their basements. They become nurses after the battle.
Sure.
And it's a big mess. So these people are important players in the whole story. But also, I want females to feel comfortable with this, because I hear a lot from my followers who are women that say, I like your show because I don't feel intimidated. Like, it's welcoming, and you make. In fact, Val said it to me at dinner. She said, "I like that you say, and for those of you who are new to this means blah 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 blah."
Yeah, because you don't get lost in the narrative, right? You're checking your ego, and you're not like, you should know this, so I'm not going to explain it, and moving on.
Yeah.
So you take a minute and say, hey, listen, this is a brigade, this is a cavalry.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, and so these narrative episodes, they're my like passion project, right? But they take me 6 months to a year. In fact, episode 2, which I'm just about to finish, I started writing a year and 1 month ago. So it's been taking me a year to complete. Now, this is because this isn't my full-time job. If it was my full-time job, it would be done in 3 to 6 months.
See, I thought for some reason, why did I think this was your full-time job?
Because I steal a lot of time to do it.
Okay, all right. I get it.
It's what I want to make my full-time job.
I was just going to say, is that your goal, is to build this up to where this is what you're doing full-time, right?
Yeah, and Addressing Gettysburg is bigger than just a podcast. Let's be real. A podcast about the Battle of Gettysburg is a subcategory of a subcategory, which is the Civil War.
Sure.
Which is a subcategory of a larger category, which is American history.
Right.
Which is a subcategory of an even larger category, which is history. Right.
Yeah, but
it's probably the most famous battle, right?
Sure. Well, it's probably the most famous battle of that war, right?
Oh, well, that's what I mean, of that war.
Yeah. Yep.
But what we want to do is, I want to do more than like entertain you through a podcast or educate you through a podcast. I want people to come here. I want people to get that feeling that I got, that grabbed me in my soul when I was 17 and I visited here for the first time.
Right.
I know how good that feels, because it gives you almost a purpose. It's like a calling. And now it's like, it took me a while to realize it, but when I moved back down here the second time 2 years ago, I was like, why did I ever leave here? I belong here. I've always belonged here. Yeah. So I want other people to feel that. And not everybody's going to feel that. I mean, you might not go home thinking the same thing I did when I left.
Yeah, but everybody, like you said, everybody's not going to feel that. But coming down and being like, that was worth my time.
Yes, and I'd like to go again.
Yeah, but they're going to find that out through your show.
Yeah, well, I hope what it does is it ignites a spark that people that are going to want to come out here and visit it and read a book or two or several.
Yeah, get your inner Lewis and Clark going and come on out and check it out, dude.
Yeah,
instead of watching it on TV or something, actually feel it. And
get your inner Martin and Lewis and
Martin and Lewis.
Come on out here.
So what's next with the show, man?
Well, all right. So let me just explain here. So you got the narratives that we're talking about, but because they take so long to make, we have to have things in between.
Just say that you're looking for somebody to do that for you.
Huh?
What? You looking at somebody to edit that for you?
Oh,
put the show together.
That would be great, but I'm so picky. No. In a perfect world, yes. I would have to have a budget to pay somebody, because I will be such a particular bastard about it that they'd have to get paid. I couldn't take a volunteer. No. What I was saying is that the narratives are kind of like the shiny ball, right, that attracts you. But we do these other episodes called Ask a Gettysburg Guide. So a lot of people don't realize that here at Gettysburg we have what are called licensed battlefield guides. They're not park rangers. They're not federal employees. They're independent contractors who are licensed by the Park Service to give a tour. It's actually a federal law, that you have to have a license given by the superintendent of the park to give a tour here.
So is that just so you know you're narrative, and you're not just speaking a bunch of shit and making up stuff. And
Who, me?
no, to be a registered guide, you really like to do that. You probably take a test.
Oh my God! I think it's easier to get into the CIA than it is to become one of these guys. I'm not joking. I know guides that have done it, and I'm studying to do it myself, and it sounds insurmountable, but I don't think it is, because I've spoken to people who've recently taken it and passed it, and they said it's really not as bad, but there's several layers. There's a written exam, and then if you pass that, you have an interview, and then they see if you have a personality and all this stuff.
I guess that's true. You got to make sure that you're just not a brick sitting out there spitting information. You got to have some interaction with people,
you're the
right?
representative of this park to the public.
Yeah,
so you got to have something to you, but you also have to know what you're talking about. But it's a I don't know. It's interesting. I don't expect to pass it, and this is the thing. I don't. And that's what I'm saying. Is there's a lot more to it, because you got your battle history,
right?
But you also have your park history. You have your geological history.
Oh, okay.
Now the geological, and people ask about these monuments all the time. There's 1,400 or some odd monuments in this entire park.
Oh, so you got to know like what they're made of and when they were put there and what they represent and all that, right?
I mean, at least for the important ones that people ask about a lot,
right?
Like this one, for example.
The one I drove right by.
The one that you completely missed. But anyway, so those Ask a Gettysburg guides are for people who listen to the narratives. Now, with the narrative, I haven't even gotten to the first day of the battle yet. We're just about to release the one that ends the day before the battle. And now it's going to take me another probably 3 to 6 months to write the research and write the next episode.
Yeah, but you'll probably do multiple episodes for the battle itself, right?
Oh, yeah. I think each day will be at least 2 parts.
Holy cow.
Well, because each day basically has 2 phases. You have the first phase. On the first day, you have the first phase, which is out to the west.
Right.
And then the second phase starts here to the north. And so they would need 2 parts. It's just too many moving parts to do in one. And I'd like to keep them around an hour.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to go long with them.
Yeah, to maintain an audience, right?
Yeah.
Get everybody. Damn, dude. So, I mean, you would never run. You would eventually, I imagine. But really, you would never run out of material.
No. I honestly, I believe if I could get this to, if I could figure out a way to make it a full-time, where I replace my job with this, I don't think I would run out of material. And I certainly wouldn't run. Look, President Eisenhower lived here after the war, after being president. Well, both. While being president and afterwards. He died. I think he died here, actually. I think he died in his house here. He had a heart attack. I don't know where he was when he had the heart attack. But anyway, Eisenhower was here. World War I, they used Pickett's Charge part of the field. You'll see that tomorrow on the tour. But they used that as a tank training ground.
That's cool.
And then in World War II, they used it as a POW camp for German prisoners of war.
No shit.
There was a swimming pool for the officers out there.
They just dug a hole in the ground, threw a tarp in it, or what?
No, like a real a real swimming pool. And it's funny because, this is called Gettysburg National Military Park.
I was going to ask you about that. That was one thing I wanted to hit you up on.
It used to be part of the War Department. Before the National Park Service was created, it was the War Department that owned this, or administered, whatever the correct term is.
Right. Had possession of it. How's that?
Yeah. And then now it's still considered a military park. I mean, it's in the name and everything. Now, what does that mean now that the National Park Service runs it? I don't know exactly, but I know that
I was going to say they got a bigger budget, but they don't have a bigger budget than the military.
But they don't have bigger bullets. Or any bullets.
That's good.
Well, law enforcement does. Yeah. But yeah, it's amazing the things that were done here. So it's and right in this field out in front of us, there was an airstrip where planes would land.
Back like in the war, like
I think
World
it was
War
the
I.
30s to like the 50s, I think is what it.
So Gettysburg had an airport?
Well, it does. There's one now out west of town out there, a little airstrip.
Right.
But this was like you landed on the dirt. Like it wasn't. it was like, for like little biplanes and stuff.
Like little Cessnas and stuff. Right.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of layers of history here.
That's pretty cool.
And that's what I love
you could
about
go,
it. So if I could make this full time, absolutely, I could have topics and guests on all the time.
Yeah. No, I get you, man. It's endless, right?
Yeah, it is.
What is not endless is this episode. And I'm surprised we ain't got kicked out yet.
Well, we're about to be, I'm sure. So better close it down.
Yep. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for...
man, thank you very much,
This
Walt.
is super cool.
I've been looking forward to this for months. So
Yeah.
It's nice to be on this side of the interview. It is. Especially with someone who can actually like talk and do it. Like it's
keep
good.
it going.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put all the... I'll get all the links for you from you in the show notes.
Yeah.
So you can check out your show and what you got going on down here.
Thank you.
And I'll tag you, of course, and everything.
Yeah.
But we'll go from there.
All right.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man.
You. Yep. Thanks for listening, folks.
See, I told you Matt has crazy passion for Gettysburg, and you want to learn more about that and Matt himself, check out Addressing Gettysburg, and all the information you're going to need to know to get connected with Matt and his podcast will be in the show notes, so make sure you reach out to him. Tell him I sent you. He's a lot of fun, good dude to hang out with, and just a well of information. So, the only thing I'm asking you to do, jump on the website, brand new website, waltskitchentable.com. Enter to win an awesome bundle of CBD products and swag. Everything you're going to need to know and learn about that giveaway is on the website. Check it out, waltskitchentable.com. Until next time, much love.